If you are struggling with your concussion and kind of feeling like crap, this video is for you. I just passed the 4-year anniversary of my car accident, and here are some of the things that I would say to myself were I to have a time machine. I really wish I could go back in time. I was in a lot of pain after my accident, from the whiplash. My neck hurt, my head hurt, my eyes were light sensitive, my ears were sound sensitive, and I was taking a lot of painkillers and muscle relaxants and anti-inflammatories and lying on ice packs, and I had the ice hats. The first while was so bad and the change was so incremental that I didn't even realize that it was getting better until I don't even know how far in, and realized that I was needing less of all of the medications that my doctor prescribed. If you are in the thick of it and you're in pain and you feel like this is not getting better, know that it takes time. Brains heal, all of our body parts heal, and you're getting better even when it doesn't feel like it. And the changes are tiny at the beginning. Sometimes they are just tiny for a while. My pain has gotten better. I am taking way less medication. My migraines are way less frequent now. Make sure that you connect with your family doctor. Medical disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I'm not your doctor. So do listen to them, take their advice, but also be patient with yourself. My brain injury is a result of a car accident, and for months, probably years, after the accident, I cried when I heard sirens. I still get really tense. I'm doing a lot better. I've worked with a psychologist. I've got coping skills, and we have done exposures where I went and I sat near hospitals and near fire departments so that I could hear sirens and be surprised by sirens and let the feelings rise and fall. I have worked hard to get here. I wish I knew then that the panic and the other feelings, the frustration, the anger, the sadness, things get easier over time. And at the beginning, it felt like I was drowning in feelings, and it was embarrassing and frustrating, and it gets better. I am less dizzy than I used to be, and I am throwing up way less than I did at the beginning. And I remember thinking when I was throwing up multiple times a day, I'm gonna rot my freaking teeth out. My stomach acid coming up is going to burn my esophagus. It's going to rot my teeth. I worried over everything. And if I had a time machine, I would say just be chill. It's the worst at the beginning. It's gonna get easier. You're gonna be in less pain. You're going to be less dizzy. You are going to throw up so much less, you don't even have any idea. The light sensitivity, the sound sensitivity, the emotional lability. So crying for no reason, just bursting into tears and people saying, why are you crying? And me having to admit that, I don't know. I just started crying and I can't turn it off. It goes away or gets significantly better. You will still have friends at the end of this. You know, I remember after the accident, I had friends who came over and they brought me puzzles and they brought me coloring books. And between my eyes being bad and having headaches anytime I tried to focus on things, puzzles were not something that I could do. And coloring was not something I could focus on. I loved them for wanting to do something nice for me, but they didn't get it. They didn't get it, which is frustrating and embarrassing and makes you feel kind of alone. And then you're afraid of the things that you're missing out on and the friendships and the relationships that are being built when people are going to the beach, they're going out for drinks, they're hitting the karaoke. And you're sitting at home just trying not to puke into a bucket. I have friends, I have great friends. They have stuck with me and I've made new friends. Just because you feel alone and just because you're missing out on things with your friend group doesn't mean that you're going to be alone forever. This is just a short blip in your life. It was hard for me not to feel embarrassed about my concussion. I have thrown up in more places at this point than I care to remember. I still have difficulties following conversations with more than one person. It's embarrassing when you're talking to two people and you have no clue what's happening anymore because they've started talking back and forth and you can't follow the ping pong ball of a conversation. It'll come back. It'll come back. Start with one friend when you're ready and build from there. Being unable to work is so hard in our society where productivity is self-worth. And when people say, "What do you do?" they mean, what is your job? Our jobs are so core to our identity. So when you can't work, it feels horrible. But we do so much more for our friends, for our families, for our communities than just whatever we did at work. I remember at the accident site, one of the firefighters saying that it's a miracle that I'm alive. And down the road, I was thinking, I wish I weren't, wish I hadn't survived, because things felt hard and I felt like I was a burden. I wasn't contributing anything to the world. If I take a step back right now and look, even during the crappy times, there were things that I was doing to encourage other people and things I was learning that I'm sharing here. So hopefully you can share things here, or you are supporting your friends, your family in other ways. Just being a listening ear sometimes is all that people need. Don't push yourself too much. Your job right now is healing. If I could go back in time, I would say that when my doctor says to me that this is as good as it's going to get, this is as healed as I am going to get. So let's now talk about ways to make my home more brain injury friendly, and how am I going to adjust my lifestyle to where I'm at. I wish that I had known then to call bull. My parents took me to see Dr. Jordan, who is currently in charge of my neurological rehab, and I told him that I had been told that this is as good as it gets. And he said, "I don't think so." And he started working with me, and the difference between where I was, this was 2 years ago, so 2 years after my accident, 2 years of vision therapy and physiotherapy and occupational therapy, I went to see Dr. Jordan, and I started with him 2 years ago now, and my life is so much better than it was. And I am so grateful. I can't even tell you how crappy it would have been if I had listened to people and just wallowed. Brains heal, and sometimes they heal frickin' slowly. If you are told that your brain is not going to get any better, ask for a second opinion and maybe a third opinion, and try to find people who've been there. Dr. Jordan referred me to Dr. Ray, who is a vision therapist. So he deals with my vestibular system. She deals with my eyes communicating with my brain. And she had a concussion. She has recovered from her concussion. Her understanding is different than other practitioners. My dentist actually had 2 concussions in university, and his advice when I go to his office, taking an anti-inflammatory before I get there, bringing my visor, bringing my earplugs. They don't have conversations over me. He knows how to work with my limitations. So I'm not saying to ditch your dentist and find someone who's had a concussion, but if you have the opportunity to work with a healthcare provider who has had one, next level. I've tried a number of things like magnet bracelets, which did nothing for me. I've tried acupressure mats, which did help me a lot with especially with my neck pain. I have friends with concussions who swear by their magnet bracelets, say that they reduce their pain levels, and who can't handle the acupressure mats and say that they're useless. You never know what's going to work. And everything is expensive. So if you can't afford to buy all these weird things, that's okay. Don't let people make you feel badly about spending your money wisely, spending your time wisely, and doing what's best for you. Sugar is inflammatory. Studies have been done. Reducing sugar intake can help. However, it is also comforting to me, and I love my desserts, and I'm freaking out right now. My entire system is angry, so I'm gonna keep on eating my chocolate. Is it the best thing ever? No, but nobody does all of the right things all of the time. Choose what works best for you, and don't let anybody make you feel guilty, even yourself. If your medical team says that you can go out and do certain things, but there's going to be a cost, only you can decide if that cost is worth it to you. Going to dinner with your family, or going to a coffee shop, or spending time with friends. Spending your whole life at home in a quiet, dark room doing nothing, that's not a life. So yeah, there's going to be a cost when we do things. The trick is to find the balance and work within the titrations. So some days you're going to do more, and then the next day maybe you do less and let your body and brain recover. So I think I would say finding the sweet spots are important, and it's going to change as your brain gets better and you can do more. You're going to want to do more. So find the sweet spot where you're not pushing yourself further than your brain can handle right now, and realize that where you are today is so much better than you were a year ago, and it's not even as good as you're going to be next year. This sucks and it's hard, but you are going to go from I cannot freaking do this for one more day to I did this, I got through, I am a warrior and a friggin' champion. We did a whole episode about gratitude journals and how they can be really frustrating and destructive, and how a gains journal where you track small wins, small gains along the way, can be more uplifting and more helpful. If you're not at a place where every day you see a small win somewhere, that's totally fine. Absolutely. Healing is non-linear. You're not just going to go up, 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 up. So there are going to be crappy days. Maybe choose a journal where on the good days, you're going to mark those things down. You don't have to journal every freaking day. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. And if I don't journal for a week or a month, then it's not worth doing at all. Screw that. Journal when you feel like it. Make a note. I carried on a conversation in the elevator with a neighbor The entire way from my floor down to the lobby, I had a phone conversation with a friend, and that's a huge win for me. Even if that phone conversation was 3 minutes, if you are off work, if you are not doing your hobbies, if you are staying at home and going to doctor's appointments and that's it, a 3-minute conversation is a win. I'm so sorry that you are going through this. If you have a win that you want to share with the Concussion Crew community, please put it in the comments below so we can all celebrate together, because it's friggin' hard and sometimes the wins are few and far between, or at least they feel like it. So let's celebrate each other's wins and mourn each other's losses. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. Please remember to subscribe if this kind of content is helpful. And remember that you are not alone in your concussion.